For just a second to let people trickle in here. Welcome, everybody. Perfect. All right, welcome to our workshop today. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. If you are joining us on Zoom, we love questions, so we want you to ask them at any point that you have them. And how you do that is to go down to the bottom of your screen. You'll see a Q&A tab and a chat tab. I'll be monitoring both of those, so feel free to drop a question in there at any point. You don't have to wait until the end. And then if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can just drop your questions in the comments, and I'll be keeping an eye on that too, and let Lori know if any questions pop up there. So with that, my name is Harmony. I am with the Fix-It Fair, and we are so excited to have Lori from Unitas Community Credit Union joining us with our partnership with Financial Beginnings. And this week we are talking about financing college. Sounds so daunting, but Lori's here to make it so much easier. So Lori, go ahead and take it away. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Harmony, and good morning, everyone. It is morning at this time. All right, so this is one of my favorite subjects, financing college. My own daughters are at the age of 20 and 19, so this is a very fresh experience for me. So I will share as much as I can in my own personal experience, because it is a journey. And I will let you know if this is for youth, or if you have a family member that's going to start high school or is currently a freshman, sophomore, this is a great time to talk about some of the things that we're going to discuss in this presentation. And just so you know, the schools have so many great resources. So we're going to go ahead and start this and enjoy. So today is financing college. And I am going to go ahead and take myself off video so that my internet connection stays nice and smooth. All right, financing college. Ooh, what are we doing today? We are going to explore the different options available to pay for college. We're going to review available college loans, various interest accumulation methods and payback options, learn the basics of the FAFSA and where to find additional support in completing your application. And during the course of this presentation, you're going to hear the word FAFSA. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Student Aid. So FAFSA is a free application for student aid. Learn how to compare financial aid packages. This is going to be a really great thing that you'll want to understand. And there's a website in here that will give you some great information so you can get an example of this. All right, so the first question is, do you have any money stashed away for college? Do you have parents that are going to contribute? Do you have guardians that are contribute? This is for the youth that are finishing up high school, that are thinking about going to college. These are great questions. If you are an adult that's thinking about going back to school, if you are not in the position that you have money stashed away, the great news is we're going to be covering some student loans. So let's start. There's three components when you are going to school: grants, scholarships, federal aid. Those are the main three other than your own income. So let's talk about grants first. The great thing about grants is you do not have to pay grants back. So this is really like free money in a sense. So the first one is federal Pell Grants, and this is the most common for people that are applying for their FAFSA. And this is why you have to fill out your FAFSA, which again is your free application for student aid. If you don't fill this application out, you won't know what kind of grants or scholarships you can get. It's kind of like when you want to get a job. If you don't fill the application out, they don't know that you're looking for a job with them. So that's why it's really important for this application. And then once you fill out this application, this is where it automatically runs for you to let you know what you will qualify for your federal Pell Grant. So that's the most common. And again, this is something that you don't have to pay back. And really, this comes from the federal government. So that is really helpful. Then you've got your federal supplemental education opportunity grants and your teacher education assistance for college and higher education grants. These two particular grants, you have to fit into a certain box to qualify for these and stay in them. So for instance, if you are thinking about pursuing a teaching degree, these two grants are going to be additional grants that you might have an opportunity to qualify for. There's just certain requirements. So you want to make sure that you keep in touch with what the requirements are for the education that you are going to school for. Then here's another special grant, the Iraq and Afghanistan service grants. So again, this is a grant that is really specified and you have to fit into certain criteria. But all four of these grants, if you qualify for this, these are funds that you do not need to pay back. And a high majority of people do qualify for the federal Pell Grants. Scholarship opportunities. So again, scholarships are something that you do not need to pay back. I will tell you that I feel, from my own experience and watching my daughters apply for scholarships, especially my oldest daughter, I would like to share with any of you that are parents or any of you that are going to school, and some of you that are going to go back to school as adults. It's almost like a full-time job. It really is. It takes a lot of time. Each scholarship is different. You fill out essays, but again, it's worth it. And that's something that you really want to think about. And for your students, let them know that the time that they're taking to fill out these scholarships, if they qualify for a $4,000 scholarship for 4 years of college, that's a lot of money. If they qualify for $8,000 or more, that is where this comes into play. It really is a job applying for these scholarships, and the money will come. So here's a couple different avenues. Financial aid office, they have lots of opportunities where they can share scholarship. High school, what's really great for any of you students that are in high school, or for any of you parents, if we've got guardians, aunts, uncles, talk to your family members that are in school, because their school counselors are a really great resource. And high school has a lot of different programs right now where they share, and they have so many opportunities to share all these different types of scholarships. The U.S. Department of Labor, this is a really great one. If you are an adult, or even if you want to go into the trade schools, this is a great where they have lots of scholarships available for more of a customized education. Federal agencies, your state grant agency, your library. Here's a great one, foundation, religious or community organizations, local businesses, civic groups. A really great example, I work for Unitas Community Credit Union, and we have a scholarship. So right now is a time where our credit union is taking applications for those scholarships. So really make sure that you check to see if your financial institution, just different things that you belong to. Organizations related to your field of interest. This is another really great one. In this particular case, for some of you that you don't want to go to college because you know specifically that you could go to a trade school. Oftentimes for trade schools, you might have to have certain tools, you might have to have certain work attire that have funds and cost related. This is where you might be able to get a scholarship that is specific for that field. Or medical, if you're thinking about going into the medical, there are going to be certain scholarships that are specific for your field. Ethnicity-based organizations. This is a really great, there's so many fabulous scholarships. Did you know I've learned this, I love this one, that there is a scholarship if you have red hair. There is a scholarship for your smile, where you write an essay. So these are just some different scholarships that are available. Again, there's just a plethora of them. Your employer or your parents' employers. Again, I work at Unitas Community Credit Union, and we have a scholarship that is for our members as well as for employees are offered for their family members. If you are someone that currently is working with your employer and you're thinking in order to promote yourself within that organization that you might need to go back to school to get some more education for a certain degree, talk to your employer and see what kind of scholarships they have through your work. And again, scholarships and grants do not need to be paid back. Loans. So here we are with loans. Loans is the way that you're going to leverage your education. If you're going to have to take loans out, the best investment that you are ever going to probably put forth for yourself in a loan is your student loans. But you really want to make sure that you understand your loans. You know, we do know that money doesn't grow on trees. And I like this picture because it shows that they're grabbing the money from the tree, but you'll see on that teeter-totter that the only reason that they have that leverage to grab for it is because there is some debt. So you really want to understand how your loans work, and you really want to make sure that when you are putting your action plan together for your future education, that you are looking at the debt that you're putting yourself into, because that will affect your future. So let's talk about some of your loans and how to understand them. So here's 5 loans. And again, these are all follow under the parent of federal student loans. You have direct subsidized loans, which is very common. The 2 most common loans that most people take out are the direct subsidized and the direct unsubsidized loans. Then you have direct plus loans for parents, direct plus loans for grads or professional participants. So that's going past your 4 years of a bachelor's. And then you have direct consolidated loans. So there's a couple steps in here. And when you're going to college to get future education, you have a couple options. A, if you want to go to a community college, which costs less, and get an associate's degree. An associate's degree is typically full-time classes, and it takes 2 years typically. That's taking a full load of classes, but it's 2 years and you get associate's degree. If you continue, and then from there you go to a state college, so you have a total of 4 years, or sometimes you have to take 5, 6 years to get that bachelor's because it's really based off the credits. That's where you would need at least 4 years, and that's taking full-time classes. So again, an associate's is 2, a bachelor's is 4, and then anything that you go past is what we call a master's, graduate school. So let's go back to the direct subsidized loans and the direct unsubsidized loan. So this is the difference, and this is really important. So again, when you apply for your FAFSA, which is the free application for student aid, most people do qualify for these loan options. The subsidized loan, this is when the government pays the interest while you are in school. So you want to take this loan first if you are offered these for student loans. Take that loan first, because while you are attending school, and again, that can be 2 years, 4 years, up to 6 years, the government will pay the interest on those loans while you are going to school. The direct unsubsidized loan, that's where you will pay interest. Interest accrues as soon as that loan is taken out. And for some of you, if you've never had a loan before, I think this is really important, is to understand what a loan is. This is money that you will pay back. someone is loaning, you are getting a loan from the federal government. And when you apply for that FAFSA, you have input your name, your social security number, all of your personal information. So if you take a loan out with the federal government, this will stay with you forever. So you want to make sure, A, that you understand these loans, because if you don't pay these loans back, there could be some future consequences. So again, if you're offered these loans, the first one that you want to take is the subsidized loans. And remember, that's where the government will pay the interest while you are in school. The unsubsidized is the opposite. And that's where you pay the interest while you're attending school. So here's a really good example. If you have a total cost of $5,500 for, let's just say, PCC, and you don't qualify for any federal grants, you don't have a scholarship, but you do qualify for loans. So if you've got $5,500, you may have these loans where half of it is direct subsidized and the other half is unsubsidized. So that will be really helpful for you. That is very common that you will get both of these type of loans. And the one that you would want to pay off first is the unsubsidized, because that accrues interest longer. All right, we'll go to the next slide. So federal versus private loans. Here's another really great example. So for private loans, these are going to be for schools that are private. It's a very different thing. A federal loan would be for Portland State University, whereas a private college, it could cost more money to go to private college, but you also might get more in scholarships. That is where a private college might have more in scholarships. So here's some differences. We'll start with the payments. So for federal, typically when you take out a student loan, you do not have to pay on those student loans until after you graduate. And in most common arenas, it would be about 6 months after you graduate that those loans will start expecting a payment cycle. They're hoping that in that 6 months that you've been able to get a job in the career that you've gone to school for. Private loans, very different. They can have payments due while you are in school. So again, this is the difference between the schools that you choose. If you're going to go to a private college, this is something that will be really important for you to know in advance. Interest rates on federal loans, they're typically fixed and lower. Private loans are higher and maybe variable. Private loans are based off of a lender making the decision based off your credit worthiness. Here is the difference between interest while in school. Federal interest can be paid. That again would be the difference between the subsidized, where the federal government is paying your interest while you are in school. Whereas a private, your interest accrues in school. As soon as that loan is dispersed for you to start school, that means on a daily basis that the loan company is charging you a daily interest rate. Tax deductibility. This is very helpful. If it's a federal loan, you get to write this off on your taxes. So it's interest deductible. Private, this may not be deductible. So again, these are the difference between federal loans versus private loans. And this will come into play depending on the college that you choose, as far as, is this a private school, or is it a loan, or is it not a private school where you can get those federal loans? All right, apply for aid. So again, here's FAFSA. FAFSA. So you'll see that it's FAFSA, and what that stands for is Free Application for Student Aid. This is really, really important. You're going to go to this website. So this is what's really great. Most times in the high schools, it seems from my experience that the high school counselors as well as the career counselors are really on top of helping the students by providing reminders. You can apply for FAFSA starting October 1st, and you want to apply as soon as you are able to. And here's the reason why. Throughout the whole entire United States, there are people that are applying for federal student aid. So the earlier that you apply, the better opportunity you have. So here's where you go. You want to go ahead and go to www.fasfa.gov. It usually takes less than 30 minutes to complete online. There is real-time help. There's also online chat. Or if you want, you can call someone. They've got a 1-800 number. So while you are in uploading things and filling out this application, you can get assistance. The IRS data retrieval tool pre-populates tax information. I'm going to come back to that one. And then this also determines the family's ability to contribute to cost of attendance. So let me share one really important thing. For the young adults that are still in high school, that are listening today, that want to be going to college here real soon, they are going to have to make sure that when they go to the IRS data retrieval tool, that they are actually having to get parents or guardians tax information. So it's going to be really important for students and parents in this particular case to have this conversation to make sure that the parents have filed their tax returns the last 2 years. Otherwise, this will cause a delay in this application because they do need to look at the family's ability to contribute. And that is what a lot of this federal grant money is based off of. And a lot of the colleges actually have their own grant money and scholarships. So this all really comes into play. So one very important thing is to have this conversation. If you are a parent and you haven't filed your tax returns, go ahead and take this time now to get your tax returns filed, because your student will need this in order to complete this free application for student aid. If you are an adult that is looking forward to going back to school, you want to make sure as well that you have filed your tax returns, because again, this is something where it will slow the process down. All right. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to need your federal student aid PIN, and this is something that you get to go ahead and you get to make up this PIN number. And this PIN number, for any of you that are going to start going to school and attending 2, 4, or up to 6 years, this will be your PIN number that you'll just have to keep in touch with, because what happens is every single year that you are attending college, you will need to fill out your FAFSA, because every year it changes. So your federal student aid PIN, you're going to need your social security number or your ITIN, your driver's license number. If you don't have a driver's license, but you have a state ID, that's going to be really great. And if you don't have either or, you still will be able to move forward with this, because not everyone has a driver's license in high school. Your tax records. So again, this is going to be for youth and for adults. So for any of you that are students, or if you have a child that's getting ready to go to college, they will need to have access to your tax records. So if you haven't filed those, this is something that you're going to need to get filed ASAP. And that's what that IRS tax retrieval tool is. That's something where if you agree to it as the adult or the guardian, that is just retrieved from the IRS directly, so that you don't have to provide all your tax records. Records of untaxed income. That would be something that if your parents or your guardians, if you are a student, if they have untaxed income, they would have to provide that. Records of all your assets. Assets would be any accounts that have retirement, that have savings, checking. They want to know what the funds are for the family contribution. List of the schools you are interested in attending. So this is really important, and something that I learned through my experience with my daughters was when you do a list of the schools, the minimum that you want to have is 3. 3 to 5 would be really great. And the reason is because you only have to fill out your application for student aid once. But how this great tool works for you is that if you list the schools, your application is going to be submitted to all of those schools. And then all of those schools are going to come back to you with their offers. So after you file for your FAFSA, which is also, again, you're free. I just really want to make that clear, everyone, that this is free. So don't feel intimidated. Make sure you fill out this application for student aid. Again, it's like when you want to go get a job. If you don't fill out a job application, they don't know that you want to work there. So this is really what it's like. You are filling out this free application for student aid for your future education. So after you file, you really want to make sure that you check your email. Look out for your student aid report. This is short. The short word for that is SAR. So SAR stands for Student Aid Report. And what this is this is going to be a summary of everything that you submitted. They're just going to give you a nice summary so you can make sure that everything looks correct with your social security number, your name, your ITIN, your birth date. And you just want to make sure that that is all correct. If it's not, you want to make sure that gets corrected. Then after you file, they're going to locate your expected family contribution. This is also called EFC for short. Make corrections if needed. This is where when you look at that SAR, just make sure that everything looks good. When they give you your expected family contribution, make sure that that looks correct. Then you really want to review your financial aid history information, and you want to double check with your schools. So what's going to happen is they're going to send you an award letter. And we're going to go to the next slide for that. Wait for the offers. Part of the puzzle. All right, so here, there's a couple different things. This is the financial aid shopping sheet. Also, another word for it is your award letters. This is really exciting. So if you apply in October or November, and again, I can't stress enough to you why you want to apply as early as possible. There are so many people applying for financial aid. So even if you are unsure what school or what you want to major in, you just want to get the application in. That's your first step. The second step is, again, minimum apply for 3 schools. When you apply for 3 schools, and if you don't know what field you want to go into, this is really valuable because you can put a community college, 2 community college, and 2 state colleges, and a private college. So that would give you 5 options to see what is going to be the best school for you, especially if you're not sure of what field you want to go into. Your financial aid shopping sheet lets you know the breakdown of what it's going to cost you. So this financial aid shopping sheet is, and this is why I like to call it the award letter, is it lets you know, A, how much in federal grants you're going to get, or any other grants. B, if you're getting scholarships, they're going to put that on there. They're going to let you know if you decide that you want to go to a private school or you want to go to a state school, they're going to not just put on what the tuition is for that college, but they're also going to add, if you're a freshman and you have to live on campus, they're going to put that cost in there. And that's really important to know because for a lot of freshmen, your really only choice is if you're going to go away to college, or even we're in the Portland metro area, if you have a student that is going to go to OSU in Corvallis or Eugene, that first year they're going to have to live in the dorms, and that is a hefty expense. And they're going to include meals. They're going to give you an estimate of what transportation is. What else goes into this award letter is they're going to break down how many credits you're taking. So what they're going to do is they're going to let you know, congratulations. This is why it's an award letter. Congratulations. We would love, thank you for your application. We would love to have you attend, let's just say Mount Hood Community College and U of O. So here's just two great examples. So you've been accepted at both colleges. This is where you want to compare your award letters, or it's also known as your financial aid shopping sheet. You're shopping to look at the differences between being accepted at U of O and being accepted at Mount Hood. This is going to give you the total cost to go to that college. And then it's going to also project on there how much you qualified for federal grants and scholarships, so that you can look at that and loans, and then look at the bottom line number to see which college is going to be financially the best fit for you. Most people may have an idea of what they want to go to school for, and they start taking college and then they change. This is so normal to change your direction. Many of us think that we might know what we want to do, and then you start taking these classes, and then you may realize this is not what I want to pursue. And I'll just share with you also, if you are someone that's in high school right now, and if you're a parent or a guardian, or again, aunt and uncle, this is what's really changed about high school. And these are so many great advantages that can help save you money before you go to college. A lot of high schools now offer courses and classes where you can get college credits while you are in high school. So an example would be, once you are 16, a lot of high schools offer IB classes or AP classes. IB classes, here's a really good example. These are International Baccalaureate. That's what IB classes stands for. So for some students, and again, the counselors are going to be great resources, but these IB classes, these are college level courses that students can take in high school and receive college credits. So if a student is able to start at the age of 16, and starting junior year, that would put about 16-year-olds. That means that when they're a junior in 11th and 12th grade, if they are taking IB classes, they are earning college credit courses right now by taking that. Where that comes into effect is in this financial aid shopping sheet. So a really good example, when you go to school, let's just say Mount Hood Community College. If you decide that you want to attend Mount Hood Community College, it would be about 12 credits they want you to take in that first quarter. And that would consider you pretty much a full-time student. But we're just going to say that you as a student, you're going to take 6 credits. So at Mount Hood Community College, each credit, which is also a class, that could cost between $118 to about $129. So if you're taking 6 credits, it might almost take you up to about $850. If you go to PCC, it's almost the same thing. That would be Portland Community College, maybe $1,000. It really depends on the classes that you're taking. You might have an extra add-on in the fee for your credits if you're taking technology classes, or if you're taking some type of car classes. Then you've got U of O. U of O is a university where those credits could cost $200 to $250 each credit. So for 6 classes, that's going to take you at about $1,200 to about $1,500. But if you take 12, that's almost $3,200. So there's a huge cost in there. That's why it's really important to explore the differences in these costs for these schools. And if you've taken IB classes in high school, and let's just say that you graduate high school and you took these IB classes that qualify as college credits. If you went to PSU or Mount Hood, and you already started out with 16 to 30 credits, you are talking about at least $708 that you already saved off the top. So 16 credits at, $118, that's where this will reduce the cost of college for you if you are taking these opportunities in high school. The other opportunity that's really great in high school right now is that they do have CTE classes, career technical education. They also have classes that when you are a junior or a senior, that if you are thinking about going into the medical field, your high school might offer this. So this gives you 2 years to choose. And if you find that you really like these courses, that's probably going to let you know before you start college that this is definitely the field that you want to pursue. So what's really phenomenal right now is that you have these opportunities while you are in high school. For those of you that are adults and you're already in the workforce, this is where you may want to talk to your employer and find out if they have any packages or if they have any financial assistance that if you want to go back to school to move up within your organization, that they may be able to assist you. All right, so this is just one of my favorite things. And again, this is the value of filling out one application and putting anywhere from 3 to 5 different colleges that you'd like to go to. And you can easily, if you are a visual, I'm a very visual person. So for me, what's really great is you can download this financial aid shopping sheet by going to collegecost.ed.gov/shopping. So we do have this, and if you have any questions, we can make sure that you get this information. All right, so stay informed. This is going to be another really important, studentaid.ed.gov. So this is something that's really important. When you have applied for that FAFSA, your free application for student aid, make sure that you're monitoring your email on a regular basis. Oftentimes what happens is you input everything, and again, for students, you have to provide your guardians or your parents' income taxes from the prior years. So you will have to coordinate this with your guardians or your parents. And sometimes, more times than others, there could be something where it's not registering and you may have to provide the full tax returns. Maybe the IRS cannot retrieve these transcripts. And I will share with you, more now than ever, due to COVID, it's been quite a year, but the federal government is very far behind on processing paper tax returns. So oftentimes for students or for adults, we're able to send our tax returns via electronic. And if you can do that, I highly suggest that because it goes way faster. The IRS highly suggests it. If you send in paper tax return, it will take a lot longer because right now, with everyone being displaced and working from home, basically the tax returns are being sent in. If they are paper tax returns, they're mailed out, they go to the processing center, but it's going to take a long time before they even get logged in because they are so backed up. So what's going to happen is if those tax returns are backed up and your student is applying for this financial aid and you sent in paper tax returns, this really could cause a delay in your financial aid and getting these award letters. But I just want to make sure that you're all aware of that the government is way behind right now due to the COVID. There are not people working in their buildings, so they're on limited staff once they receive these, and then they have to disperse them out. So if you can, file your tax returns electronic. So that will be the first thing. The next thing is oftentimes if you've applied for scholarships, well, sometimes when you apply for scholarships, and again, remember that there are if you have one high school that has 1,500 students and the senior class is applying right now, let's just say that in the senior class you have 550 students and 300 of those students are applying for financial aid, that's just your high school. Every high school within the United States probably has the same type of pattern going on. So that's why you really want to get these in October 1st. You want to start submitting this. So your scholarships at different times, they will have different openings where they'll want you to apply. And again, this is why it's really important to start in October applying for these scholarships, because what happens is there's so many people applying for these scholarships that some of you will not make the first round. Others of you will make the first round, where now they want you to submit another essay. You're going to go through another set of rounds. Then if you pass that, there might be a third round. There might be up to 4 different rounds, especially if you're looking at scholarships that are $10,000, $15,000. There's going to be a lot of competition for that, and there's going to be a process. So that's where they're going to notify you, is through email. So just make sure that you're really paying attention to your email and staying on top of it, and make sure that you're replying. I stated earlier, and I really meant this, for you that are students, this will be like a job, but take comfort in knowing that the scholarships that you receive and the time that you take and you invest right now is going to pay off. Some scholarships will be for every year that you attend school based off of certain criteria. So one of those things might that you have to keep a certain GPA. That's very standard. Some scholarships might just be once a year, but what's really great is every year that you attend school, you will have to fill out your FAFSA form. And again, that's your free application for student aid. And every year it can change. So you may qualify for a certain amount of federal grants one year and then not so much the next. You might qualify for a scholarship one year and then not the next. But that's where each year is very different. Customized, each person is going to have their own individual experience. Definitely, because we are all our own individuals. We all have our own different stories. So this will be a very different experience for the majority of you. There we go. So you're going to fill out your FAFSA. Make sure, again, that if you can, apply for 3 to 5 different colleges that you are interested in. If you do not know what you want to pursue, make sure that you really think about a community college. The cost of community college is less expensive, and you still get the best education. There's nothing harder than if you have never had a loan that you have to pay back, and this is the first loan that you have to pay back. You might want to look into having the lowest loan amount, because paying back loans, it's really important maybe to look at how much is it going to cost you to go to school, and if you take that amount, what is going to be your monthly payment, because that's something that you're going to have to pay every month once you graduate. All right, so types of aid, who gets aid. Again, we all have different journeys, so everyone's going to vary. Every college is going to vary, and again, based off of your personal information, your family's contribution. Each university can give you as an individual a different package. And then repaying your loans. That is really a key thing. I think the biggest thing in financial education right now, especially with student loans, is there are a lot of people that go into this not really understanding their loans. And understanding your loans, super simple in this. What's the difference between a subsidized and unsubsidized? If you don't have to take all those funds out for a loan, don't take it, because you are borrowing money from someone. And when you borrow money, you pay interest. So if you take only $1,000 out in student loan, but there's interest, you might end up paying back $1,100. So that's kind of a really key ingredient here. And just as a friendly reminder, subsidized means that the government pays the interest while you are in school. So take that as your first choice if you need to take loans out. Unsubsidized is the opposite. That's where your interest accrues as soon as the loan's dispersed. Again, what's really great is that you're going to continue your education. The best thing that you can invest in yourself is loans. Just make sure that you understand them because you have to pay this money back. All right, so getting started, research and apply for scholarships. I can't mention, this is going to be my third time as a charm. So when you're applying for scholarships, this is like having a job. And just look at it that scholarships is money that you do not need to pay back. This is money to get you through college. Your time and effort by applying for these scholarships is going to pay for a large amount of your education. If you get a scholarship that is set up that you will receive, again, you have to maintain, typically there are certain criteria, but let's just say maintaining a 3-point GPA. In this particular case, if you get a scholarship every single year for $4,000, that's $12,000 towards your education that you do not have to pay back. Your grant money, the federal grant money, that is not money that you need to pay back. And you get all these great benefits by just applying for your free application for student aid. Complete your FAFSA in October. There is a big difference between completing your FAFSA in October compared to completing it at the end of February. And again, just remember that you yourself, when you're going through this individual journey, think of all the high schools, think about all the states of all the people that are going to be going to college. This is why the early bird catches the worm. So start right away in October. And not only that, but if you're applying for scholarships where you're going to have several rounds of competition to see who finally qualifies, you want to start in October. Compare awards. And here, this is the financial aid shopping sheet. These are your award letters. There's nothing better than applying for 3 to 5 colleges and knowing that you're accepted at all of those colleges. But this is the main key. Understand which college is going to be the best fit for you and your future career. If you are unsure of what field you want to go into, look at the community college. Are those costs less? If they're less, go that route, because remember, any loans that you take out, you have to pay back. And because it costs more money to go to a state college, that might be your best avenue. Then again, because we all have different individual journeys, you might have applied for a private college that offers you more awards and scholarships and grants. So again, this is where the award letters, you are looking at everything, and this will break down to the total cost to go to that university or community college, minus the scholarship money, minus your grants that you don't ever have to pay back. And then that's where your loans come into play. And then understanding your loans. Make sure that if you're going to have to take loans out, that you look at that amount. If you're going to go to a university where it's going to cost you $25,000 to go for 9 months, you want to look at that amount. Because if you're going to go to that same university for 4 years, it could cost you $23,000 every year for the next 4 years. So you want to make sure, what is $80,000 in student loans? How long is that going to take me to pay off once I'm in my desired career? Or would a good way to structure my college education be starting out at the community college, living at home or having less expenses to live on my own, and then going to the state university the last 2 years? All right, so we're about completed, and I'm hoping that you all are able to understand the different options available to pay for college. And really, it's broken down into 3 key ingredients. Well, actually, it's 4. If you have money saved up and or if you have any family members that have saved money. There's the first. A high majority do not have that wonderful option. So that would be grants. You don't have to pay grants back. Scholarships, you don't have to pay scholarships back. And then student loans. Student loans, you need to pay back, but what a great way to leverage for you. That's the best loan, the best thing that you can do to invest in yourself. Just do it wisely and with understanding. Understand your college loans and how interest accumulates and your repayment options. Make sure that you understand when you decide what college you want to go to. Make sure that you're looking at that bottom line of what is the cost to go to that college, so that you know when you finish and complete your college degree that you will be repaying those funds back. Leverage it. Leverage your opportunities. Leverage your choices. Know the basics of the FAFSA and where to find additional support in completing an application. So what's really great is they've made it super easy. www.fafsa.gov. On that website, you can do live chat. You can call in to the 1-800 number so that if you need someone to walk you through. Also, I know that there are so many, if you are a student in high school, or if you are a parent guardian and you don't understand this process, you know what? It's okay, because the high schools have career counselors. They have the counselors. They are so there to provide these resources for the students. Know how to compare financial aid packages. So your financial aid package is the award letter. That is where you want to look at and compare the cost of each university. And each school that you apply for is going to offer you a different package. So that's what's so valuable for applying 3 to 5 different colleges, because each one has a different package. All right, so that finishes our presentation.
Thank you so much, Lori. Sorry, I just clicked on the wrong thing. There are a few questions here for you. The first one being, is there an age limit for the FAFSA? So like if you're an adult and you want to go back to school, is the FAFSA still applicable?
Yes, it is. So there's not an age. What's really great, again, is it's a federal FAFSA. The free application is typically for federal loans and federal grants. So nothing on the age, but I would highly suggest, if you are an adult, if you currently do have an employer, many employers, if they won't pay for, or if they don't have scholarships, a lot of employers will pay for maybe 80% or help reimbursement. They just have set guidelines. For instance, if you're going to stay with that company. So make sure that you're checking into that as a source as well.
Okay, awesome. And this one is a little bit tied to the first one. Is our financial aid programs applicable to the certificate programs that I've seen offered? So you know that like Cornell is doing some of those specialized, go back to school for a month or two and get a certificate from them. Does FAFSA apply?
Yeah, and I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you yes. And this is why I'm going to tell you yes. Because when you are filling out that application, you are putting the school that you want to go to. So if it is, again, what's so really great is this is a specialized school. So that specialized school is going to get that application. So it should go hand in hand. I did have one other important thing that I wanted to mention for any of the adults that are going back to school. If there is a university or a community college, most of those are also going to have a career counselor there at the university that you can reach out to. and they can help guide the process. You know, for many youth that are in high school, they have that as luxury. And something else that this career counselor might also suggest is maybe for an extra $200, $250, they can have you as an adult going back to school take an assessment, career assessment test. And you pay about $200, $250. You take 2 tests, and then the career counselor will sit down, and based off how you answered these questions, they can dissect it and say, it looks like based off of the skills and interests that you have, these are the career paths that would best match your personality. So I would highly suggest that as an option as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that existed. Lori, last question. Are there any financial pros or cons to waiting a year or two after high school to start college? Like if you want to travel or you want to work a couple years or whatever the reason may be. Is there anything to know about that?
So I feel that for the most part, that is a very individual journey. I will share that I know I have a 19-year-old daughter. And again, I just want to share my own personal experience and what we've experienced is that my youngest daughter, she did want to take time out. The reason that she did not take time out is because many of the community colleges right now have so many extra scholarships and type of grants where if you go right out of high school, you qualify for those. If you wait a year, you may not. And some of those opportunities, some of those grants and scholarships are so that you can go for free. And again, I cannot stress for the financial aid application, the FAFSA, there are so many students that may not think that their family makes enough money. And that's why you want to apply for this aid, because they do take that into consideration. If your family doesn't necessarily make a lot of money, you may qualify for more grants or more scholarships. So I think it's just an individual journey. But the one thing that I would say is more con that I've heard from most people is that when they have decided to take a year off, it's very difficult to get back into that routine of going to school. The other thing is if you take a year off, my personal experience was I started taking some classes. I was very unclear of what I wanted to pursue because there was probably about 4 fields that I would have liked to have gone into. So I stopped attending school. And it wasn't until I was about 23, 24 that I had been in the workforce. I worked 2 jobs, but I had rent, I had a car, I had credit card bills. It was very difficult for me to get back into school. And basically my route was I was going to have to take night schools because I had all these other financial responsibilities. So if you have the opportunity to stay home or live with roommates and just knock 2 years out at least to get the associates, and then you're still undecided, then travel. I've got one child that is going to finish up master's. She just does not want to stop because she doesn't think she can get back into the other group. And I have one child that's going to go ahead and just push through to get the associates and then take time out. I don't think it's a negative thing at all. I just think that it's a hard routine to get back into, and it's a hard routine to get back into when you start acquiring debt, like a car payment, and then you get these paychecks.
That totally makes sense. And like you said, it's an individual journey, but there's different factors at least to consider in how you want that journey to play out and how you want it to land, for sure.
Question, and I would highly suggest that with that question, ask others about that. Ask other people about their experience with that.
Great suggestion, Lori. That is all the questions I have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is Lori from United Community Credit Union in our partnership with Financial Beginnings Oregon. We always appreciate having you on these Tuesday mornings. If folks have questions, if you're watching this later on or there's something you forgot about, I dropped in the comments the link to our email. So you can shoot us an email and we can connect with Lori or one of the other financial professionals and get those answered to you. So all is not lost if you missed that at the beginning. Thank you, Lori. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you soon. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you, Harmony. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.